you don't know the answer to, but I'm sure you're having very interesting conversations about with clients, which is, when does tech bottom? What does it need to see?
I think we have to have companies fundamentally cut numbers and acknowledge the macro headwinds are in. None of the companies have done that to a big extent. So most of our clients are waiting for them to make the cut, and most of those cuts would come through the next earnings cycle into potentially the summer. So stocks are obviously well ahead of fundamentals. We've had valuations come down. Now we need the fundamentals to be reset, and companies have to come out and acknowledge what has happened and give us a sense of where that's at. So until they do that, I don't think our investors want to get in front of it. Our advice is to sit up the storm. There's no hurry. And this has taken on more negativity than we ever could imagine. We have no buyers on our desk. There's max pain. Wow. And it's darker than I've seen in the last decade in covering many of these names.
Who needs to lower numbers? Because Apple made a pretty big warning about supply chain and China. Netflix, seeing its user growth slow to the point of a decline. Meta, it doesn't feel like these companies are particularly optimistic right now.
I think for software companies, they're delayed. So my coverage is in software and internet. If you look at software, many of the reports were okay. I think you ultimately have the settling in effect of what happens in 23. Do we see a recession? And so many of the companies have said, hey, things are fine. We're pandemic beneficiary. This continues. And ultimately, everyone's been parked in these stocks. So I think ultimately, many of the companies still have to give that. I think investors want to wait and see how bad the fundamentals are this summer and then come back to these names. I can tell you with high conviction that the biggest names on Wall Street right now are sitting out this and waiting. And we did not see that volume at this point on our desk. It doesn't mean it's not happening anywhere else. But certainly right now, the conversations we have are those investors want to wait.
No buyers.
I think no buyers. There's a massive buyer strike right now.
So, Brent, what do you tell them where they should be, where they want to be when a turn, if a turn happens? And we could be waiting a long time for it, but just as you look at these valuations get crushed, what are you telling them? What looks best right now?
Rotating to the highest quality stories that have good growth and cash flow and profitability. Companies like Microsoft, Intuit, Palo Alto Networks, and cybersecurity, a great story. Cyber spend is going to continue regardless of what happens in the environment. The Palo Alto is in a great position there. If you look at Amazon right now, Wall Street's effectively, you're getting the retail business for free, because if you look at Amazon's AWS and ad business, that effectively in our sum of the parts equals the market cap today. So, Amazon at some point, they'll get the retail business fixed, but they'll come back. Google still remains in a great position. So right now, I think many of our clients are long these big bellwether names, short all high growth software and internet. That's worked phenomenally well. At some point, that comes unwound, and everyone will want to come back to the snowflakes, the Datadogs, the high multiple names, CrowdStrike, but they don't want to come back to those names. And you're continuing to see those names go down 5 to 10% every single day, consecutive days in a row. And again, I don't think we're at the bottom yet for software valuations yet.